Welcome to Discover Virginia, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of the incredible people, businesses, and stories that shape the Hampton Roads and Virginia community. Each episode, we sit down with local entrepreneurs, creatives, and change makers who are redefining what it means to live, work, and also play in this region. Now, let's explore, connect, and discover Virginia. Hey everyone, welcome back to Discover Virginia podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Trahan, and today we are kicking it back in our Ascend studio, courtesy of Brenner and his team here in Norfolk's Assembly. We're so excited to be recording here, but we know that with an amplified studio, we got to get more, better, and interesting guests. So that is exactly what we're going to be doing here today. We have the opportunity to speak with Eric, and I'm going to mess up his last name. He'll correct me here in a minute. Svedberg, president of European Autowerks and owner of Fuel Coaching. Eric, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
You said the last name perfectly.
Wonderful. Well, I normally just say the last name once, so I'll just stick with Eric for now.
Perfect.
Eric, thank you for being on the show today. We really appreciate it. You're actually, I think this is memorable for the show, but here you actually had reached out to us and I guess courtesy of everything you're doing in the coaching world of just putting yourself out there and doing more podcasts. So we're honored that you reached out to us. Thanks again.
Yeah, no problem. I like bringing value.
Absolutely. So Eric, I understand you're a man of many talents, but the first thing that we always want to highlight with every guest is your Hampton Roads roots. So are you from the area originally? Kempsville, right?
Yeah, Kempsville.
And we always like to ask our guests, what exactly got you to stick around and build your life and business here in Hampton Roads?
Well, when I was going to Kempsville High School, I got a job at the local gas station. I was always mechanically inclined. And then that grew into me being a technician there, still going to school after high school, TCC and Liberty University. But then I then went from working at the gas station to actually owning the gas station at age 22.
Holy moly. How did that come about? Well,
the owner was ready to sell. I was a good prospect. I was dedicated. I was the lead technician, state inspector. I wasn't sure if Amoco was going to accept me. So I, like any good business owner or future business owner or entrepreneur, you should have a backup plan. So my backup plan was, hey, if Amoco does not accept me, I'm going to just jet off to the Mediterranean and work on, a ship and be in the charter business. So that was the backup plan.
Mechanically inclined, right? You kind of have the world's your oyster at that point.
Exactly. I figured somebody would hire me and work my way up to hopefully captain or something similar.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So how did you approach the business? Did you have a 3-point plan? Was it more so of hey, I see you're kind of grumpy coming into work, you thinking about selling this place? How did that transpire?
I think he approached me, told me what he was thinking, asked me if I was interested, and I was. I always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I had to obviously get funding, which I did. It was all private funding. People backed me, which was nice, very generous of them, and I paid them all back with interest. And obviously, long story short, Amoco accepted me, and so therefore, at age 22, I became the youngest Amoco dealer in the United States of America.
Wow. What traits or ideologies that you adopt early on in your working years that made you, a possible candidate and then actual, owner of Amoco? Was there certain traits that they looked for?
You had to fill out about 100 pages. So obviously you had to have some financial sense. You had to have some financial backing. You had to have assets. You had to obviously have some IQ because they bring in the big wigs to interview at that time. This was not franchise. So, this was a dealer. So therefore franchising is a little different. So this was, you're an independent dealership and you just cannot use any other colors or sell any other fuels. You have to represent the Amoco brand. So they just want to make sure you're pretty solid, that you're going to represent their brand very well.
Yeah. What were those early years like running a high-end, European auto shop?
That wasn't European. That's later on.
So what was it like running the Amoco? Yeah.
Yeah. Stressful at that age. You might not understand cash flow. as you do later on.
Sure.
Balance sheets, profit and loss statements. But Amoco and most of the gas oil companies back then would send you to school. So therefore, if you want to be an Amoco dealer, you had to go to Chicago and go to 2 weeks worth of Amoco school. So therefore, they taught you a lot of the financials and the basics and how to pay for loads of fuel and margin on fuel. Pool margin is when you take all 3 grades of gas and pull them together to get your average, profit on what it's pulling each month. So they teach you all those things.
Wow. So from inventory to ordering, and then also mixing the fuel as well. That was all covered within the 2 weeks.
Not mixing. The pumps do that for you. Okay. Nowadays they didn't back then. You had tanks for all 3 grades back then. They teach you hiring, HR, how to price like cigarettes. Cigarettes was pretty big back then. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Wow. That's so fascinating, Eric. And doing this all here in the Hampton Roads area, correct?
Yeah, right there in Kempsville on the corner of what used to be Princess Anne and Witchduck. They've now moved that road. It's now Singleton and Witchduck.
Gotcha.
And the gas station's gone now. But
yeah. What was that transition like? Because I know Amoco then became BP. Can you walk us through what that transition was like and how it impacted the business?
Yeah, sure. I believe I was there 7-8 years, something like that. And then BP bought Amoco, and their long-term strategy was not full service. So therefore, BP really didn't want shops that fixed cars at the time. So they weren't necessarily, making people close up. They just weren't going to build new facilities or something like that fixed cars. So luckily for me, I guess, long-term strategy here, the land lease was coming up with the landowner. So BP was not going to renew that land lease since I was a full service location. So I renewed the lease. So I did a 5-year lease with 3 5-year options. Therefore, I then could set the stage to kick BP out. Yeah. Therefore we got rid of the pumps, got rid of the tanks, and then I rebranded to what's called Automotive Specialists. And that's how I transitioned from the gas business into the just automotive repair business.
Yeah, because the gas business, I don't have too much of a memory aside from going and filling up the gas tank, but originally gas stations were full service for cars, right? You could get in repair, they'd pump your gas for you. It's kind of like a modern day automotive shop. So it sounds like you decided to lean more into the automotive side.
Back then when I was an Amoco dealer, you always had something that was pulling customers in to your gas. So that would be the repair.
Sure.
And then the gas was just an added bonus. And a lot of times, since, maybe someone had an Amoco credit card, it would be convenient for that person to get their car repaired because they could put the charge onto their Amoco credit card. That would be the same for Exxon or Shell.
Yeah. So. Wow. So fascinating. So you decided to lean into more the automotive side at that point. And that was when European Autowerks, was that when that was born?
Automotive Specialists.
Automotive Specialist. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Automotive Specialist. Tell me more about what that transition was like for you.
Yeah, so that's when I got my life back, is when it transitioned to Automotive Specialist. So therefore, gas is gone. Now we transition from being open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day with gas,
right,
to 5 days a week. And I have my weekends to myself. And so we rebranded, new name, automotive repair only, did our marketing, did our sales, did our production, everything that goes with running a business, and rolled with that for about 14 years, grew every year, did great, loved it, but decided after 14 years, maybe there was one more change to make.
During those 14 years, what was one of the most the biggest challenges you faced in the industry? Because I know there was a lot of, the gas station to the automotive kind of split. So was there anything else that changed during that time that was rather challenging for you?
Yes. And that would be almost any service-based business, whether it's automotive repair, plumbing, heating, roofing, electrical, is employees. Yeah. So there's been a shortage of those types of employees for 40 years. Ever since I went in high school, I'm a product of the 80s. So therefore, the guidance counselors were always telling you, if you don't go to college, you're not going to have a great job. And that's not necessarily the case, because people in the trades can make $150,000.
They'll take you to business school in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, for sure. They can make good money.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to go to college to be in a trade and make, a great living and support a family.
Yeah. So. Wow. So 14 years. And what was the, that's a wealth of business knowledge here in that time. What did you learn?
I learned a lot, that's for sure. The School of Hard Knocks, you learn about credit card chargebacks and how you're guilty until proved innocent when it comes to credit card chargebacks. You learn.
What are credit card chargebacks?
Credit card well, I'll tell you the funniest ones.
Yeah.
Okay, here you'll have a guy that comes in and needs his car fixed, and let's just call it $2,000 worth of repair, and
sure.
And he says, yeah, let's go with that. And, we do the repair, and then he comes in to pay with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend pays the bill. Or, nowadays, they pay through pay by text, or, pay by chat, something like that. But the girlfriend pays, like, oh, honey, I'll take care of that bill for you. And then 30 days later, you get a chargeback because the guy then broke up with the girlfriend. Okay. But the girlfriend then gets the credit card bill, and the girlfriend says, oh, heck no, I'm not paying for this. And they initiate, the chargeback. So. Oh
my gosh. Do you have a lot of girlfriends paying for boyfriends' cars?
No.
Yeah. You're like, you need to pay for your own car repairs, right? Oh my gosh. That is incredible. It's so fascinating.
Another thing is, you learn customer service. You learn how to deal with employees. You deal with how to build a team, how to be a better leader. I think the biggest thing is you need to be humble as an entrepreneur and know that you don't know it all, and to reach out and to connect with other people in business and learn from each other. I didn't get my first business coach until I was in my 40s, and that was a huge mistake. If I had one in my 20s, it would have been a game changer.
Yeah, especially too, because geographically, Hampton Roads seems a little sparse according to your take and your industry expertise in the field that you were in. So I can imagine the employee segment was lacking in that regard. When it came to like individuals, like bringing on and hiring them, what was one of the biggest things you learned as what makes a good team and separates a good team from like a great team?
Well, the biggest takeaway is you hire for the soul and you train for the role. So many people hire because they can do the job, but they have maybe a terrible personality, don't get along with others. You got to go put them in the corner. And whatever you do not let any customers interact with that person. Right. So that is
gonna keep them up. Back of house, right?
Yeah. Something you try to avoid. So if you can hire, people that are energetic, that are excited, want to learn, that changes everything. You can train the skill as long as they're trainable.
Yeah. Wow. So auto specialist, that was the journey from there, and buying the land lease from BP and saying, hey, we're going to go work on these vehicles and provide the service. What changed after that time with auto specialist that made you say, hey, I'm ready for a different change?
Yeah, automotive specialist. So I had a 5-year lease with 3 5-year options. So that's 20 years total. I was coming up on year 15 where I was going to have to sign that last 5 years. And I had decided I really want to get a hold of the land and building. So I started looking around, asking people, hey, is there a building I can buy? Is there a shop I can buy? And there was a shop called European Autowerks, and the owner of European Autowerks wanted to retire. And it was just the perfect timing. So him and I worked out a contract. I was able to buy European Autowerks. I stopped the lease, did not sign the newest 5-year lease at Automotive Specialist, picked up all my people, all my equipment, moved over to European Autowerks. I kept all that staff, all that equipment, all those assets. And then we have just built that business every year since.
Wow. So you took the whole team with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess after all those years, you had really refined who you wanted to work with, and it didn't really, those are the people you wanted to continue to work with.
Well, not only that, we had gone from a 2,400 square foot shop to a 10,000. So
how big was your team at this point before you made the transition?
3, 4, there was 5 of us.
5 of you.
So
okay.
then when I went over, there were 4 at the new location because he was really winding down. He was at the end of his career.
Sure.
He was kind of burned out. So therefore we had a team of 9, and currently we have a team of 11. So.
Wow. What an incredible journey. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask this, but Eric, were there any times during this season that you doubted yourself?
Oh, too many times to count.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Was there a guiding light or principle that you used during the season before the coaching that's, kind of help you stick to your guns or at least continue on with the next right decision in your business?
That's an interesting question. I just always had a lot of tenacity, and I never, had the word quit inside me. So I always felt like I was going to be successful. I was going to figure out how to make things work. If, option A didn't work, I was going to move to option B, option C, option D. I guess it's the same thing as when you work on a car. So if you're working on a car,
I was going to say very mechanically mindset. This car's got to go. It doesn't matter how it goes. It's got to run. Yeah.
I'll tell you, I had this one vehicle. I mean, this was early on. I mean, I might not even own the shop yet. I might have been 21. And I had a customer, and he was a member of the Rock Church, and he brought me this vehicle, and he liked to tinker on cars. So he had already tinkered on this thing for a while. And I don't know, for whatever reason, this vehicle was kicking my butt. And kicking my butt means it took more than a day, right? And not even the full day. I only spend maybe an hour or 2 at a time because I have other things to do and then get back on it or something like that. So he had pulled up to the station, and he called me out. He's like, "Hey, have you figured out what's wrong with the car yet?" I'm like, "No, sir, not yet. I'm working on it." He said, Do you mind if I pray for you?" And I said, "Oh, I have no problem with that," thinking he was going to go home and pray for me. And no, he didn't go home. He put his arm around me right there, and he reached up to God and started praying right there in the parking lot for me, about me finding out what was wrong with his car. And whether you believe or not, later on the afternoon, I figured out what was wrong with that car. So sometimes prayers help.
Sometimes prayers help. Oh my gosh. Oh man. What a good business owner you are. Yeah. And then when did, excuse me, I'm butchering that. When did fuel coaching enter in the scene? So you got when did you get your first business coach? You said 40?
I was in my 40s.
40s?
I'm currently 54.
Okay.
So I've had 2 different coaching companies that I've used, learned tremendous amounts of information from all of them. What entrepreneurs sometimes lack is the knowledge to say yes to a certain decision to move forward. So they might be hesitant to change pricing or try a new strategy. When you have a coach and they're looking from the outside, they might, have a different perspective. Or if they're coaching other businesses or know industry, nationwide, they might say, "Hey, yes, you should do that." And then the entrepreneur gives themselves permission then to do it. They won't do it on their own. They sometimes don't want to stick their neck out. Right. But when the coach says, "No, everybody's doing that. What are you waiting for?"
Right. Like, They have the industry insight or the overlapping industries who have maybe outpaced certain.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's a game changer. So did you ask me when I wanted to start fuel coaching?
Yeah, I was mainly curious because I've talked to a lot of people who are hesitant to hire business coaches to begin with.
Sure.
So I'm always like curious from like somebody who has hired a business coach. I myself personally have as well. What is that thought process that's important to go through, maybe on the mechanically minded side of things, to go, hey, when might I need a business coach versus when do I need to continue to learn from the school of hard knocks?
Well, it goes back to that part about being humble. So you not knowing everything, and that other people might know things you don't know. Not you personally, just people in general. And
no, I don't know everything.
I don't either, for sure. My girlfriend tells me that all the time.
That's why Michael's doing the whole production and Brenner has a studio. I'm just talking. Yeah,
me too. But Uh, you know, I currently have 3 coaches right now.
Really? Three business coaches or
No.
3 different styles?
I have one financial coach, I have one business coach, and then I have one coach that all we work on is my goals.
Yeah.
And how to drive forward with my personal goals. And that one's a lot of fun. But the coaching side of it, I think everyone can benefit from a coach. Sure. Everyone. And now that I'm coaching others, I see the benefit I'm giving. I'm giving them 35 years of knowledge, of business knowledge, and the hard knocks, and also seeing things that they don't see, those light bulb moments, which is invaluable to them. And the joy that it brings people just lights me up. It's every single week. It's fun.
Yeah,
for sure.
I can tell that energy behind it too. And the reason why I asked you, because like a lot of people may see coaching as like a scam or a gimmick, right? It's like someone just trying to take a bunch of money up front and then maybe give you some general guidance and principles. So I'm always fascinated to see from somebody who does purchase it before, like what are some of the things that you look for in a good business coach that, can maybe not just justify the spend, but also differentiate from the ones that, just call themselves a business coach.
A really good business coach gives a lot more than they receive. They have a giver's heart. They want the person to succeed. I guess if you haven't been in, business very long, you could be taken by someone that doesn't have the right intentions.
Sure.
But maybe if you ask around, that would be just like everything. That would be a good way of finding a good business coach that has your best interest at heart.
Yeah. And if you don't mind disclosing, how much do you pay for your business coaches?
Let's see. So the one where I work on my goals is around $600 a month. The financial one is around $4,000 a year. And Dan Martell, who is my coach, is significantly more.
Sure. Yeah.
Than all those numbers for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess that goes back to the end of the day too, where as most business owners and entrepreneurs, like time, at least for me and what I've seen in business, my very limited time is the most valuable commodity. You can't create more time, create more wealth, create more insight, but time is the most limited resource. So I guess, the business coaching piece is probably helpful in advancing that as well.
Well, when you're young, you're trading time for money.
Sure.
And as you age, you learn you want to trade money for time.
Yeah.
That's why you have maybe someone that cleans your house. That's why you have someone that cuts your grass or something like that, so that you can get that time back. Yeah. Coaching can probably get you on that path much faster.
Yeah. So would you say to someone who is maybe just started out business or young in their business, it's still a good time to invest in a coach versus waiting to get, 15 or 20 years into an industry?
Yeah, you're going to get there so much faster.
Yeah.
I mean, the hurdles are, when you start a business, getting to 1 million, and then the next one's 3 million, then the next one's 10 million. So if you have a small business, you're starting it up and you're stuck at that 100,000 a year, 250,000 a year, something like that. You need to scale to 1 million. And then once you scale to 1 million, you need to scale to 3 million. And once you scale to 3 million, you're stuck unless you really know how to scale properly. So coach can help you through all those hurdles.
Sure. And I take it you've hit those mile markers yourself for your business?
Yes.
Yeah. Very cool. Good for you. So when did field coaching become part of your journey and made you want to maybe give back and start coaching individuals as well?
Well, the good news is I always had a giving heart as far as helping others. So sure. I've been helping other business owners since maybe not the day I got started, because obviously I was in no position to help anyone. I was just trying to, keep my head above water.
Yeah.
So, but fast forward, once I, learned, how to run a gas station efficiently, how to run a service repair shop efficiently, having systems, processes, how to run a towing company efficiently, how to hire people, all that, when fellow business owners had questions, I always help them. I helped people get into business, and I didn't charge any money for this. I was doing it out of the goodness of my heart, and still do. But then I felt like, there's probably people outside of the Tidewater area that could benefit from this. And so I started field coaching a year and a half ago or so and started reaching out. People knew my name already. I was keeping it limited, one-on-one coaching, not group coaching. And yeah, I got my first client, then second client, then third client, and now I'm international with, a client in Canada, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it's very rewarding, that's for sure.
What are the most common mistakes you see entrepreneurs make when they are trying to scale? Let's say they got the coach and they're ready to scale. What's the most common problem they face?
They don't really have systems. You can't scale without systems and processes. So what we teach a lot of times, I teach a lot of times, is you build the first pod. So what does that look like? So if you can do a business and say that business can do $2 million, and with $2 million, it looks like you have this many people and you have systems and you're not involved every day, right? There's a manager, there's someone that does sales, somebody does marketing, somebody does production, delivery, all that. Okay, now you have a pod. Now you pick up that pod and repeat it, right, in another location. But you can't do it without the systems and the processes.
Systems are key.
Yep. Correct.
Yeah. Mechanically minded. Yeah, you already knew that. I love that. You often talk about creating structure when there is none, and I think that goes back to the pods as well. Can you give us a real life example of maybe one of the people you've coached or one of the businesses you've seen flourish by taking that pod and stacking it on other pods and scaling and growing?
Yeah, one of my clients is in New York. He has 3 shops, and next month he's buying his 4th. So what we did, he always wanted to buy the 4th, but he was struggling a little bit with the 3 he had. That's why he brought me on. So we spent the last 9 months really getting his foundation in place for his 3 that he currently had before he expanded again, because we didn't want this thing to be a train wreck.
Yeah.
So therefore, once we got all that in place, he felt confident to move forward, find that 4th location. He knows the pod system he needs, the number of people he needs. He has his systems, processes, and now he can drive forward.
Yeah. That's such a great insight too, because it's so simple and important, but yet it's so relevant too, because I think especially in, you just like flip through Instagram or online, like it's about AI and its advancements, it's the quick hacks. And I think so often it's easy for a young entrepreneur, or even someone just, in business trying to look for that next solution to go towards the shiny object versus actually like, hey, like it's the boring stuff, it's the mundane stuff, but it's the stuff that's going to like prove over time, like a Ford. I don't know, like a Ford, like a Chevy.
Well, I think we can all agree if you've been in the game long enough, boring makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
And in speaking of AI, since I come from the service-based industry, AI cannot change a toilet, right? AI currently can't take parts off your car and replace them. AI can do a lot, and AI is not going anywhere. It's only going to get bigger, and it's the fastest growing thing, 1,000 times faster than cell phones, 1,000,000 times faster than computers.
Yeah.
But service, there's an opportunity out there for people.
Yeah, service-based, I think, is such a low-hanging fruit, especially in our area too, where we have the shipyard. I mean, it's one of the driving economic pieces of Portsmouth and Norfolk has always been the shipyard. I mean, that's where, like, when the area was first colonized, like that's the industry that kind of brought everyone, from overseas from Europe.
Correct.
What role do you think mindset plays in moving from that survival mode? Because I know you said you just got to figure out the business to then growing and scaling and hiring the coach.
Mindset plays a lot. And sometimes when you're burned out, because that's what happens, entrepreneurs get burned out. They're tired of hiring, they're tired of firing, they're tired of, customer service issues, whatever. So, if they're burned out, it certainly helps having a coach to bring you back around and saying, from the way I see it, it's not as bad as you think. You're in it so much. And that's one of the pieces is how fast can I get the entrepreneur to be out of being a firefighter every day and move him to a different mindset, to a leadership mindset, to maybe hiring a general manager. So therefore, the person's transitioning to be a visionary instead of in the weeds.
Yeah.
So.
I've always heard it say working on your business versus working in your business.
Correct.
That'd be a fair analysis.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so important. So Eric, you're writing a book.
Yes.
You've had a great, successful career. You're continuing to grow and expand. Tell us more about the book. Tell us more about the, service-based industries that are the focal point of what you hope to get for people in the industries to get out of this read.
Yeah. I've been thinking about this book since I was in my 20s. I never considered myself, a writer. In fact, that brings up, I have 4 coaches. I forgot. I have a book writing coach. Okay.
There you go.
Because I've never
coach it up.
I've never written a book before.
Sure.
So, he's not a ghostwriter. He's just, a coach helping me. Hey, this is the process. This is what you do. So therefore, people say it takes a long time to write a book. And I'm like, I wonder why it takes so long. Well, now I know it takes a little while to write a book. So I am probably 98% of the way through the outline, which is a huge thing for me.
Biggest step is the one that starts the journey, right?
Correct. Because once you have the outline, the book kind of writes itself from there.
Sure.
I still have to put the words on the paper. But anyway, about the book itself. So this book is how, if you can take a service-based industry and make it more professional, then you can have better customers, better employees, and better net profits. So one of the stories I always tell is you pull up to a gas station, and I'm not trying to beat up on plumbers here, but you might be filling your tank and this raggedy old van pulls up with a magnetic plumbing sign, and someone gets out and looks, maybe amateurish, not necessarily professional, not really a nice uniform or polo shirt or something.
Sure.
Okay. That does not mean that person is not capable.
Right.
But when the person walks up to the door and the person opens the door, is there any hesitation whether they want this person walking in their house?
Yeah. Perception shapes reality, right? Yeah.
Correct. So that's just one side of the coin as far as what the business could look like if you went from quote unquote amateur to professional. Would that person get better clientele? Would he have better employees? Would he have better profits? Could he charge more?
Yeah.
So,
wow. Yeah, that's so interesting too, because regardless of the industry, it's the professionalism. I know when I worked at Chick-fil-A, it was always not "you're welcome," it was "my pleasure." Right. So that upgraded language, that upgraded experience. And then for us on the show, it's not just filming a podcast, but it's we're in a professional studio. I think it's the intent behind the business that really helps elevate it.
We were talking about Chick-fil-A yesterday on a call, not you and I. And the "my pleasure" was one of the executives from Chick-fil-A came up with that. Do you know how long it took him to get that fully implemented across all locations?
Oh my gosh. Well, Chick-fil-A started in strip malls, right? So it was not the origin. It was finally, I think it was year 8 to 12 range, I want to say.
3 years.
3 years. Okay. 3 years.
To get the "my pleasure" implemented across where everybody was saying it.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a good example because I'm sure you talk to a lot of business owners. I was like, I implemented this policy. I sent out the memo. Why aren't people doing it? It's even as simple as 2 words, 3 years,
Yeah.
How can improving systems and standards actually lead to better customers? It sounds good on paper, right? Okay, well, we'll make sure our plumbers have a good uniform. We'll make sure they use the better language, but do customers really care about that? Are they going to pay more for it?
I think customers will pay for the consistency. So, think about if someone came and cleaned your house and one week they clean it and they do a great job, and the next week they clean it and they don't do the countertops. Then the next time they do a pretty good job, and the fourth time they do a great job, and it's very inconsistent. That doesn't leave a good taste in the mouth of the customer. Mm-hmm. So I think consistency is the key. So therefore, if you have systems and processes, you can be consistent. Therefore, the customer is not looking or loyal to just one employee. Right. Also, if you have systems and processes, you can hire people and train them faster.
Right. Because it's like, hey, act like this person or model this person versus I'm going to show you what I'm doing, but I'm really busy and hopefully you'll pick up along the way.
Correct. And you got to think of it, us being in Hampton Roads, I mean, we have a very transient population.
Yeah.
So there's businesses all over there constantly having to hire and train. So if you have systems and processes, you can train someone much easier than if, you're trying to make it up as you go each time.
Yeah. Who were some of the biggest mentors or influences in your early career that shaped the way you view leadership today?
My dad. So my dad was worked for the DoD. So he worked submarines, mechanical repair. Imagine that. He loved that. 54 years, I think, 56 years working on submarines.
Wow.
He never wanted to retire. He's still around. He's 85, kicking butt. So yeah. So he was, a huge inspiration. I owe a lot to my parents, with values and doing the right thing. I'm an Eagle Scout. So my scout leaders were very inspirational growing up. I had some friends that really ingrained later on in life. They were older than me, but really ingrained great values with that consistency. So they just didn't say it; they acted, on those values. So
it's important. Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that, Eric. As we wrap up our conversation today, we have a reoccurring segment that is our rapid fire question section.
Okay.
So you go through the rapid fire, get a chance to roll out the red carpet and share your final words or messages with the audience. You up for the challenge?
I am.
All righty, Eric, first question for you. After decades of living and working here, what do you love most about the Virginia Beach community?
The kindness. People still hold doors for each other.
Favorite local restaurant for maybe you're going out to lunch or going out to celebrate for dinner?
There's so many.
I know.
We have a lot of great restaurants in Tidewater, that's for sure.
We'll let you rattle off a few. If you got a few come to mind.
I like Tautog's. I like Aldo's. I like Blue Seafood and Red Mill.
Yeah.
Is awesome. The owner comes out and still talks to you, and
those are the nice places.
It's so good. Those three.
Those are some good ones right there. Yeah, that's the Italian restaurant too. Aldo's, right?
Aldo's, yeah.
Yeah.
They're very consistent for sure.
Any hidden gems or local businesses you think more people should know about?
It's a tough one.
I know.
You're gonna have to edit some of this.
That's okay.
White noise.
No, leave it all in.
Hidden gem.
Some people don't want to part with their hidden gem businesses, so they're.
I know, right? Because everybody will start going there, and then it's not a hidden gem.
We had to delete one of the questions. We had to just ask people what their favorite beach was, and we started talking about Sandbridge, and I started getting hate mail. So we had
I live in Sandbridge. Yeah.
Sandbridge.
Don't tell people Sandbridge. Cancel this podcast.
I'm telling everybody, go to Sandbridge. Yes.
Hidden gem. Oh my gosh, I'm stuck on that one.
That's okay. When you need to unwind or maybe get inspired, maybe get off the mechanical route, maybe just appreciate nature, where around Hampton Roads do you recommend people to go to maybe connect with nature?
We're blessed, I think. I mean, I haven't lived anywhere else, but we're blessed to have a lot of great parks.
Yeah.
There's a park, I think, in every neighborhood.
Yeah, there's like 22 or 23
you
parks.
You can go pick
Virginia
up
Beach.
Grocery store sushi and a book and go to a park in any neighborhood and just relax.
Yeah.
And
I love that. Eric, thank you so much for your time and for your business acumen and wisdom. I've really had a pleasure speaking with you today. This camera here, let the people know where they can go to learn more about you, and floor's all yours.
Yeah. So you can go to Eric.Svedberg. That'd be on Instagram or Facebook. You can send me a message. If you have any business questions, feel free to reach out. Always happy to help. We can always get on a 20-minute, phone call and see where I could be of assistance. If I could help coach, great. If I can't, maybe I can point you in the right direction for another coach. and go from there.
Awesome. Eric, thank you so much. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. And thank you to our dedicated listeners for checking us out on another episode of Discover Virginia. Guys, we hope you've been enjoying the show. Be sure to hit that like button and comment below what conversations we should have next. And of course, what business questions you have for Eric, because I already have his phone number and I can just blow him up with all the questions. All right, let's hope I don't get in trouble for saying that. All right, guys, we'll see you all in another episode very soon. Bye for now.